The year is 1992. Paul Keating is the Australian Prime Minister. The average price of petrol is about 60 cents, and Honda has just reinvented itself with a new supercar known as the NSX. This point in time also marks the rise of a young Tasmanian car dealer who, together with the NSX, harbours ambitions of winning a new tarmac rally race, known as the Targa Tasmania. On these roads, history was made.
Stealing a mere 2 seconds off leader Greg Crick has the task to win growing into a mountain. It's all or nothing. The climb from Queenstown, frightening at speed. Crick faster than home by a second. Every advantage is vital. They tried in their hundreds, but couldn't conquer the Tasmanians, Greg Crick and navigator Greg Priest. Victory for them by a mere 9 seconds.
We've been wound up for 5 days, and I think we've been so wound up that we're now worn out. So it's a great feeling. We're very, very proud.
NSX in Targa Tasmania was just a fantastic experience. The event was brand new. It was heaps of excitement throughout Tasmania and around Australia for the event, and I was fortunate enough to be given an NSX to drive in the event along with Jack Brabham in a 2-car Honda team, and it was just an unbelievable experience. And for us to come out and win it in the very first year was probably a total surprise to most people, but after you drive one of those NSXs of the day, they were a car that were miles in front of their time. You know, the supercars of the day were very hard to drive, difficult to drive and cantankerous. And that car was a car that you could drive as an everyday driver, and when you wanted it to perform as you did on these twisty, tight, damp Tasmanian roads, it just did the job.
Do you think anyone expected you to win, and did you expect to win?
I thought I could win, because you always think that.
My word, we're going to win it.
But I don't think anyone else expected us to win it. And I don't think it was quite in the script that an unknown Tasmanian was going to win the event in a Honda.
Now, 27 years later, the original NSX is back in familiar territory. We've brought along its younger protege and a familiar face to see how they compare. What do you reckon? This feels a bit like Christmas morning, Cricky.
Very exciting, Sam. Not much sleep last night for this old bloke, you know, looking forward to having a drive of this little beauty.
For sure. Look, I'm going to be a gentleman here. Which one do you want first?
Seniority rules, mate. I'm in this model.
Let's go then. Now, the NSX needs little introduction. When it first came to market in the 1990s, it really shocked the supercar fraternity and put the likes of Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini on real notice. At the hands of Crick, this car was simply unstoppable on Tassie roads. By modern standards, the NSX is still a brisk little machine. You're getting 201 kilowatts and 284 newton meters from a 3-litre V6 engine. Back in the day, a claimed 0 to 100 time of just 6.9 seconds. The steering in the manual version is devoid of any electric assistance, so you're getting that really cool kind of weighting up through corners and feeling every little nuance in the road. It makes the car feel alive. Jumping behind the wheel of the original NSX, you can start to see some of the cues that the modern interpretation has borrowed from. In daily conveyance, this feels like a 1990s Honda Prelude. It's that easy to drive, there's plenty of vision front and rear, and all the controls are so well placed. What's really impressed me with this car, with 188,000 kilometres on the clock, is that everything still works. The power windows, the electric seats, even the cruise control. You can tell today, this car was really ahead of its time. The V6 doesn't mind revving either, with peak power and torque figures reached from 7,100 RPM and 5,300 RPM respectively. The biggest highlight of the original NSX is its chassis and suspension, which of course had some input from Formula One champion Ayrton Senna. The car is refreshingly easy to drive even 27 years later. But in saying that, the power and performance is simply no match for the latest iteration. Wow, welcome to the future. The NSX Take 2 really does take Honda to new heights in a performance sense. You're getting 3 electric motors that combine with a traditional twin turbocharged V6 engine to give you 427 kilowatts and 646 Newton meters. And while it does borrow some inspiration from the original, these two cars really are poles apart. Not only have you got all that power, along with a 0 to 100 time of about 3 seconds, this latest NSX has all-wheel drive. It has a 9-speed automatic gearbox, and it has all these electronic controls that can make an ordinary driver look truly quite extraordinary. The obvious change between these two cars is the speed, the all-wheel drive grip, and just that instant acceleration. The original NSX doesn't stand a chance of keeping up with this thing, but that's just as well because there is a huge caveat with this latest generation: the price. The modern NSX is priced at $420,000 plus on-road costs, putting it well and truly into McLaren, Porsche and Ferrari territory. It weighs 1,800 kilograms but is dripping with the latest technology: an aluminium space frame chassis, carbon fibre floor and body shell, and carbon ceramic brakes. Like the original, it is incredibly easy to drive in daily conveyance, and with those batteries at play, the performance is simply instant. There are very few gripes with the latest iteration. If anything, its American build isn't quite as rock solid as the original Japanese NSX. So Cricky, I don't know about you, but for me, that new NSX makes a huge impact. Is it as significant as the original, do you reckon?
It's as big a step forward as what that car was in its day. The 91 car, when it came out, was just a huge step forward in the supercar world. In the ability of the car to be used as a daily driver, the way it performed, you know, it's just everything about the car, its quality control, everything about the car was great. And this car has made as big a step forward in the modern era with the hybrid system, which I thought, why would you ever want a hybrid in a supercar? But after you drive that, you realise why.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's just so easy to drive that new one as a daily. It's almost like you're in a Civic, which I know you said about the original as well, but
Yeah.
the two are just poles apart in terms of performance. It couldn't really get any easier than that, could it?
Well, it's a modern day version of the old car. That's what I like about it. It's still got that Honda continuity. You get in the car and it's got the same tactile things in the car that the old car's got. Even the headlight switch is probably the same as the 91 car. You know, they keep things the same. And the other thing I like about it is the simplicity of all the systems and controls. You know, even for an old bloke like me, it's easy to get in and dial it into the mode you want the car in. With some of the modern cars we've been driving lately, you've got to be a rocket scientist or a computer IT expert to be able to put them in the mode you want them in.
Totally agree. Look, it's midweek. We've got beautiful Tassie roads and these two cars at our disposal. What do you say we go for a lash? But I'm going to take the new one and you can spend a bit of time on the old one.
No, okay, I suppose you can have a little turn.
All right, cheers.